Oh my God, the National Association of Realtors settled for over $400 million in this landslide, crazy lawsuit between the sellers of homes and how things should operate. How's this going to play out? What's going to change? What's going on? I'm sure you have tons of questions. That's what we're going to talk about today, so stick around. Good morning. My name is Adam Kahn, and I'm the Rational Investor. Today is Saturday, March 23rd. I hope you're all doing well. Do me a favor before I get into the video about NAR, or the National Association of Realtors, and what happened with the lawsuit and how I see it changing the dynamics of the process and what goes on in the real estate industry. Do me a favor. Hit that thumbs up button, smash that like button. Say hello, make some comments. Let me know what you guys think and how you think things are going to play out. Because to get right into it, frankly, I don't think a whole lot is going to change, even despite all the people going nuts, talking about realtors falling out of the business and how crazy it's going to get. Like, there's all these big fires and crazy stuff, like the end of realtors. Well, let me tell you what I think is going to change. It's actually going to end up beneficial for the buyer's agent, who's now going to have a buyer's broker's agreement, which they've always had, or at least for the past few years, and they really advise people to getting them signed. But now it's going to be a requirement before they can take and show homes. And what the buyer's broker's agreement is going to do, it's going to outline how much the pay is, and it's not allowed to be advertised on the MLS as something that would be paid by the seller. Keep in mind, that doesn't mean the seller can't pay for it. It means that it can't be advertised on the MLS. And what a lot of people don't realize, I've bought and sold a lot of homes, and I think the opposite of most people. And it's probably to stop people like me from being able to advertise the way that I would have. My attitude when I used to list a home is, I don't see the listing agent as valuable as the person who brings the buyer into my house. And I want to incentivize them as much as possible to get people to view my homes. Now, ethically, you can say whatever you want about the agent should show all homes that people want to look at and everything else. But as commissions started getting smaller, and what you would see more often is a seller only offering 2 or 2.5% to the buyer's side, and keeping 2.5% or 3% to the seller side. Me personally, I would negotiate that seller side down to 1 or 1.5%, even if I had to pay for my own pictures to be listed on the MLS, and I would be like, give the buyer's agent 3%. I want as many buyers as possible coming in to see my property, because the more people that come in, the better the offer I'm going to get. And that extra 0.5% or 1% is not a concern to me. I just want the views. I want as many people coming in as possible. I know most people don't think that way, but that's how I always thought. That was what I would do when I would sell a home. I was not cheap about paying the buyer's agent. Now let's fast forward to the lawsuit, what happened and how it's changed, and how things need to be going forward. So commissions can no longer be shown on the MLS. What that means for you guys who don't understand is when somebody put up their listing, it would be on the MLS for the realtors to see how much the commission structure was before they would show homes or anything else. It wasn't something that people in the public could see, so they weren't really aware, and it was a little bit hidden. But the agents themselves who have access to the system could see the commission structure and what was being offered by the seller from the contract they signed with their agent. That is no longer allowed. The commissions will not be allowed to be advertised on the MLS, meaning if I go to list my home, it won't be able to say anything. But you who's potentially looking to buy a home will meet with a prospective real estate agent, and you'll have to sign a buyer's agreement with them. The protection for them now is that limits you to working with just that agent. So I advise doing your research and vetting that agent properly and making sure you're happy with them. Because if you then go and find something on your own or through another realtor, they'll actually have a legal claim against you saying that they had an agreement with you that you were working with them. To be fair, that is really fair. If they're getting in their car and driving around and showing you properties, and also keep in mind, they all have access to the same homes. It's not like this one has this home and this one has another, like it used to be in maybe the 1970s and 1980s. The system shows all homes on the MLS for sale. So if you don't like the agent you signed an agreement with, you need to speak up and let them know so you can get out of the agreement. If you just go behind their back and then call somebody else and you don't tell them, they're liable to file a suit to come after you if you end up buying a home. Now, that commits you to them, but they're committed to you. So you will negotiate directly with that agent what you will pay them to help you find a home. I don't think I see the commissions dropping all that much because they will be able to reach out to the selling agent and negotiate that and say, I have an agreement with my buyer that they're paying 2.5%, and we would like the seller to pay that. Well, hopefully the seller's agent has prepared the seller properly to explain it and say, in all likelihood, they're going to have some sort of agreement, and they're going to be reaching out to us to tell us what the commission is that they're expecting us to pay that agent. Most buyers don't have the cash to just pay additional. I don't see it becoming, we pay per home. I don't see it becoming anything different than what it already is. And maybe people can try to negotiate that amount lower, but my guess is just like people thought it was 6% to sell a home or 5 or whatever, and they didn't really understand it wasn't negotiable, it always was. I am not a realtor, so keep this in mind. I've just bought and sold homes. I do mortgages. I've worked with a lot of realtors. People underestimate how much work they put in. It is not just, oh, they find me a home and they get paid all this money. No, they drive people around a lot. They spend a lot of time. They set up the appointments. They negotiate for you. And when you guys get in some fight over a $500 washing machine that if you didn't have realtors involved would blow up the deal and you would lose the house that you really love, and they manage to come in and settle you down and either get a new washing machine or whatever it is to settle everybody down over the stupid thing that they're fighting about and close the deal so you get into the house you love, there is value there that everybody seems to ignore going, they just get paid a ton of money to do nothing. That is not true. They really do a lot to help. They also help you understand what's going on with guys like me in the mortgage world. If they understand that end of it, they'll talk you through closing. They'll talk you through anything. Look, I don't know. They might find a painter or a floor guy for you or all sorts of things to help you once you've made that transition. Now, don't get me wrong. I bet there's some bumps come July when it first starts happening and people aren't used to it. But a good agent's going to have an easy time explaining to somebody who's interested in looking at homes that, hey, these are the new rules. This is what changed. We're negotiating my commission. I asked for X. And if it were me, I'd be asking for 2 to 2.5%. I would not be cutting it down. I might even ask for 3 if I saw it as being an awful lot of work, where I might be showing a lot of homes to somebody who may or may not be realistic about what the market is. And maybe I would discount it if I think it's somebody who really understood. But I would still expect my pay. I would demand it because I'm good at what I do, and I'm not worried about whether somebody decides that's too expensive or not. And I would still let them know that I plan to negotiate the seller to pay for it. This is not money I expect to come out of your pocket. So I don't really see a whole lot changing other than that upfront conversation with a client about what to expect, which maybe improves the overall process for people. So anyway, that's my talk on what I saw with the lawsuit. And when I read it, I just went onto the Realtor's website to read directly what changes. And that's about all that changes. I talked to one of the agents. I'd have to make sure this is accurate. And I said, well, I think more people reach out directly to the listing agent. And I also don't think that's a good idea. I'll tell you why, which is it's a realtor's job to do the best they can for their client. If you reach out directly to the listing agent, who's their client? It's not fair for them to represent you and the seller. They cannot do the best of their ability for both of you, and they're going to be doing one an injustice. And there's some companies that won't even allow for that. And in my opinion, that should be like having the lawyer defense and prosecution. I don't think that should be something that should even be acceptable. Now, that being said, what this agent told me is they can't open the door unless the buyer has a representative that's representing them. So they're not even allowed to just let you see the house and you negotiate it for yourself with them. Now, I would have to find out if that's accurate information. She let me know that was what her company let her know. If it's true, it actually makes sense to me that they don't want to just allow people to overstep that part, because there's more to it than what people think. The contract needs to be written up appropriately. Somebody's going to help set you up with a title company. Title's going to handle closing. If you're capable of doing all that stuff, my God, you probably didn't need a realtor before. You could do for sale by owner or whatever you want to do to go through the process. But I'm thinking that people who reach out to realtors to help them find homes aren't going to find much difference going on other than the way it's set up at this point. Again, thumbs up, like, subscribe. Tell me what you think about the lawsuit and if you think things are going to change. Really, I see all these gloom and doomers going nuts talking about how it's the end of real estate. I just don't see it that way. There's too many people that have too many questions about wanting to know if it's a fair price. Are we doing it right? Am I getting a good deal? Will I be able to sell it later and make money? All of those things that they would like a little hand-holding. Yes, I have friends who are investors who think I don't need that stuff. And to be fair, maybe they don't. But most of the world really does, and they want to have somebody help them through the process. It isn't free. They aren't just these people who have plenty of extra time and just feel like running around. This is a job, and they're good at it. So trust your agent, pay them fairly, and be appreciative that they help you through the process. Don't underestimate how much they really do for you. So have a great day. Enjoy the weekend. It's beautiful here in Vegas, a little bit windy, but outside of that, I love this time of year. Talk to you tomorrow or the next day.